Well, hello and good evening. Welcome to When Wisdom Talks. I'm Alisha.
Hey, and I'm Kadesha.
And I'm Naomi, and welcome to When Wisdom Talks. Another week. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We're so excited. Thank you so much for joining. Every week, you all already know we're going to have the same exact excitement, if not more, because we're always excited to be hanging out with y'all. And we thank you. I do want to take this one moment to thank all those who tune in every single week.
Yes.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all really make this possible for us. We do this because we love all of you. We thank you for all of our new followers and listeners and watchers and all of you. So thank you so much for tuning into When Wisdom Talks. We are your hosts, Wisdom on the Wall Trio, and we're excited to be here with you all again. This episode and every other episode is sponsored by Wisdom on the Wall and Be Inspired Global. And our mission, we always got to give you our mission each week, which is to empower men and women to live better and wiser. That's what we come to do every single week, to empower you to live better and wiser. And this week is no different. So with that, I'm going to kick it on over to Kadesha.
Thank you, ma'am. And I don't think nobody beats your excitement, Naomi. Okay, you raised the bar for sure. But we appreciate that, and that's why we love you.
Oh, I love you too.
So, as you know, we have been highlighting themes, and so each week we highlight a theme and we expand upon that. So this week we are recognizing National Compliment Your Mirror Day. And so from that, we're going to talk about having healthy self-esteem. That is a lot to talk about in 60 minutes. We're going to do the best we can, okay? But this month overall has been free to be, and this week we want you to be free to be, full of healthy self-esteem. The three of us are your special guests, my girls, Alisha, Naomi, and myself. We are the special ones today. So we're looking forward to empowering you, encouraging you, pulling you in and pulling you out. I want to tell you, we always give you homework before we start, or some items to tackle. But I want to first mention, and this is the most important, we want you to get a pencil or pen or marker, or whatever you feel like writing with, crayon, whatever tickles your fancy. We want you to get something to write with and a notepad, because we don't want you just to take notes, but we actually have a special quiz. And so Alicia's going to walk us through that a little bit later. So again, go ahead, get your pen, your notepad, get you a drink if you need it. But we are going to walk you through a quiz, okay? Also, we want you to go ahead and follow us on Instagram. If you're not already, go ahead and like us and follow us on YouTube as well. And of course, we need you to go ahead and share the show. It takes 5 seconds to go ahead and share the show at When Wisdom Talks. Okay, you can go ahead and tag somebody. We also want to remind you that we are empowering all week long. So Monday nights, we have a pop-up prayer call. The three of us believe in the power of prayer. It doesn't matter where you are in your faith. It doesn't matter what or who you believe in, but prayer works. And so we rally together on Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have a pop-up prayer call. Also, Wednesday mornings, every Wednesday morning, somebody say Wednesday morning. Every Wednesday morning, we have an empowerment prayer call where one of us is teaching from the Word of God. We're giving you Bible for breakfast. We pray, we encourage each other, and we rally. And that's been one of the things that has been getting us through these past months, years now, through the pandemic. That is our source of fellowship. So that's Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, we're here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Go ahead and tell your friends, tell your foes, tell your neighbors, everybody you know. Also, if you want to connect with us in any way, go ahead and email us at info@wisdomonthewall.com. If you want to learn a little bit more about our ministry, Wisdom on the Wall, Inc., you can do that at wisdomonthewall.com. So I believe I covered everything, and I'm going to remind you one more time, get your pen, your or pencil and a piece of paper so you can be ready for our quiz in just a little bit. All right. So I'm going to send it over to Miss Alisha.
Awesome. Thank you, Kadesha. All righty. Hopefully you all know what segment this is. This is Girl, What's Your Story with a Twist. I love it. But again, this is the time where we just kind of share what it is that we've done over this past week or so. Something that we enjoy, something that may have brought a smile to our face. And the twist is that we want each one of you to share as well. So while we're sharing tonight, please go ahead and type away in the chat and let us know exactly what you've been up to. Because again, we're always looking for something fun to do and something to take part in. So we may just do what you did. But I'm going to go ahead and kick it off because I'm already running my mouth. And mine is going to be kind of quick because, well, not because, but it's just going to be a little quick. And anyway, I'm going to talk about the show Married at First Sight. Now, those of you who have been with us from day one, we did a little piece on that, and the dialogue was very interesting to say the least. But season 13 just came out the other day, and let me tell you, it's going to be an interesting one. Let me just put it that way. Oh my goodness. But for those of you who may not be familiar with it, it's actually, as the name, the title says, Married at First Sight. There are hundreds of people who actually kind of clamor for this to be a part of this show. And they end up picking 5 women and 5 men who they've actually matched up. And the catch is that they do not meet the person until they meet them at the altar where they say, I do. And they are legally married. So you can imagine the interesting things that come out of this. And I really like it because it's for all types of relationships, because you're going to learn about marriage. As you know, you had these people come together and they have a psychologist, a relationship therapist, as well as a pastor. So putting all that together, trying to make these marriages work. And then for those of us who may not be married, you learn a little thing or two about what you need to be looking for when it comes to marriage and what makes a marriage work. So I just say, don't knock it till you try it. Watch one of those shows. And the great thing is it does come on Wednesday evening. So, it might interrupt Bible study, but you can always catch it when Bible study ends, or you can also DVR it, watch the replay, whatever the case may be. I do on demand. It comes on Lifetime, and it's a fun show. So I'm excited because season 13 has started and it's already going to be juicy. So tune in so we could talk about it. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And who am I going to throw it over to next?
I'm kind of bummed that I haven't been able to tune in yet, but I think I can catch it on DVR or something so I can catch up. And you told me that there's someone on there that reminds you of me.
A little bit. She's starting to show some things that I don't equate to you. So if you see those things, don't be looking at me side-eyed. It was what she showed in the beginning, okay?
Well, big up to the realtors. That was the one thing.
Yes.
I don't know about everything else. But for me, something similar. I watched some of the movie and the rest of the movie watched me. But it was the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. Have you two seen that?
My husband has, and he's raved about it. It's very intense. I'll just say that. Leave it at that.
That is a very good word for it. It just, well, like I said, I watched some and then the rest watched me, but I woke up because it was a lot of gunshots at the time. So that's when I woke up and that's when I got more intrigued. And so anyway, the movie is telling the story of Fred Hampton. He was a leader of the Black Panther out of Chicago. And he was unfortunately gunned down and assassinated at the age of 21. And so that to me in itself, like just recognizing how youthful he was, you know what I mean? But he was so powerful and so influential. And that really just shows how when you're rising in power, how the government wants to control that essentially. And so the reason why they have the Judas part of it is because they had there was a young man that they used to as an FBI informant, who was an FBI informant, but also a part of the Black Panther movement. And so it's just very deep for me because I just think about my nephews, like they're 21, right? But it's just like he has so much power. But the one thing that I love, I always got to find something good out of it, that although they took his life at the time, they did not take his girlfriend, and she was pregnant. And so his son was able to, live on and essentially carry on a part of that legacy. But it's very good. I do want to go back and watch some more of it. It was just like Naomi said, very intense. So it's like I don't like violence and stuff like that, but that was the reality of what was happening, right? So I didn't want to watch too much of it, but it really is good, and it helps you get a fresh perspective, because I never really explored the Black Panthers. I mean, I knew about them, but it just helps you to see them in a different light. I mean, they was supporting or uplifting, the plight of Black America. That's what they wanted to do. They just had a very bold approach to it. So nonetheless, it was a good movie. That was Judas and the Black Messiah. You can catch it on, I think it's HBO Max, and maybe Netflix as well.
I was taking myself off mute. For a minute, I had one of those brain fogs. Where's the unmute button? But nonetheless, I can always tell that we're all three so connected, because we were all three catching up on TV and movies. Oh my gosh, because that's what my girl, what's your story is. So every Friday, we try to be faithful to this, but every Friday, my family and I have family movie night. And so this past movie night was the release and the premiere of the new Space Jam movie. Oh my gosh, with LeBron James in it. So the kids were waiting all week for this. I mean, maybe longer than a week, maybe 2 or 3. From the moment they found out it was going to be coming out, they were really excited. So this past Friday, we watched the new Space Jam movie with LeBron James in it. And so just to give you a little bit of background, the original movie came out back in 1996, and it was starring Michael Jordan. And so this one is a remake with a bit of a different storyline, which I think is really wonderful, because it was about his family. And so, we just love that part of it. And it also stars one of my favorite actors, Don Cheadle. Oh my gosh, I think anything he plays in is phenomenal. I don't think that he's ever played in a bad movie, but that's just my opinion. But he's amazing. And so he's in it. I'm not going to tell you which role he plays, just in case you want to go and watch it. But just a synopsis. So the movie is about superstar LeBron James, who they call King James, and his young son. And so they get trapped in this like digital space by a rogue AI. And so to get home safely, LeBron has to team up with Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and the rest of the Looney Tune gang for a high stakes basketball game. And you have all of these spectators and everything. So it's powerful, and it was just so much fun, and it was funny. And so the object was for King James to try to win this game to save the world. So it was a lot of action. There were funny lines in it, funny moments, and it was just really, really cool. So, yep, that's my girl. What's your story? And I'm sticking to it. I had so much fun with the family watching the movie.
Love it. Yay!
And I'm trying to keep these earbuds in. Shoot, they keep falling out.
That's why I don't wear them, because they end up falling out. And I'm like, oh, goodness.
Speaking of falling out, I had 2, got the little, not the Beats, right? Because I'm too cheap, but whatever is the dummy version of the Beats. So I got them, and one came out while I was running or walking or something. So I always just use the one.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me just go ahead and get some.
All this high-tech stuff. It's like, come on.
The things we have to do. Oh, goodness gracious, help me. Well, thank you, ladies, for sharing. I have 2 movies now that I definitely have to check out. Mm-hmm. But I am going to turn it over to Kadesha to get us kicked off in this next segment, which we are all excited for.
Yes. Look, I don't forgot we were talking about self-esteem. We done talked about movies. Look, I thought we was this is going to be a movie segment, but nonetheless, yes, we are talking about Free to Be full of healthy self-esteem. Yes, yes, yes. So I want to just kick it off with a definition. Remember, before I even get into the definition, remember, what did I tell you all to get before we started? A pen or a pencil and a piece of paper, because Miss Alisha is going to be walking us through a quiz in just a moment. But we just wanted to set the foundation, right? The groundwork, just by giving you the definition of self-esteem. And this came from like some psychologists. And it says it refers to an individual's sense of his or her value or worth, or the extent to which a person values, approves of, appreciates, prizes, or likes him or herself. Look, we could say period after that, because the part that's really sticking out to me is which a person approves of, appreciates, prizes, or likes him or herself. So it has nothing to do with whether people like you or not. It's all about how you like yourself. Then it further says the most broad and frequently cited definition of self-esteem within psychology is Rosenberg's, in then parentheses 1965, who described it as a favorable or unfavorable attitude towards self. Whew, that's a mouthful. And so as I was reviewing that, I thought a scripture came to mind, and I thought of 1 Peter 2:9. And it says, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. So yes, we should value ourselves. We should approve of ourselves. We should appreciate ourselves, prize ourselves, because we are a chosen people. If you forgot, I'm reminding you today, you were chosen. You are a royal priesthood. You are a holy nation, honey. God set you aside for a special reason and a purpose. So we want you to have high self-esteem. So we're going to be talking about that this episode. And without further ado, go ahead and get that piece of paper, that pen or pencil that you're going to be writing with. And Alisha is going to give us and walk us through a quiz. Yay!
Awesome! As you can tell, we are totally excited when it comes to this particular topic. But like Kadesha said, please go ahead, grab a piece of paper. Look, even if it's a back of an envelope, yes, it can be anything that you can write the numbers 1 to 20 on. And let me just do a little disclaimer. This quiz was not developed by When Wisdom Talks or Wisdom on the Wall. It was actually developed by a woman named Carla Downing. And we got this from Change My Relationship. Okay, so this is not ours, but we want to share it because we think this topic is really important. So again, 1 to 20, do that. The way we're going to do this, because obviously we don't have a lot of time tonight. So I'm going to repeat the question twice. So I want you to please pay attention. But the other thing is, if you want a copy of the quiz itself, please email us. And we're going to put the email address up there. It's info@wisdomonthewall.com. And if you want a copy of this quiz, which is the self-esteem quiz, just to kind of get a barometer of where we are when it falls on that scale, as Kadesha was going over the definition, if we have, high or low, or if you want to call it healthy or unhealthy self-esteem, it kind of gives us a little barometer. And like I said, we didn't develop this. So if you don't like the answer that it comes out to be, don't come after either one of us, okay? But no, again, I don't want you to overthink the question. Please just, whatever is the first thing come to mind, because we don't have a lot of time, one, but also typically your first thought is the true answer, okay? So question number 1, do you frequently compare yourself to other people? Yes or no? And these are all yes or no questions. Again, number 1, do you frequently compare yourself to other people? Yes or no? Number 2, do you frequently feel self-conscious? Yes or no? Do you frequently feel self-conscious? Yes or no? Number 3, do you beat yourself up mentally when you make a mistake? Yes or no? Do you beat yourself up mentally when you make a mistake? Number 4, when you make a mistake, do you assume others are thinking about or talking about what you did? Yes or no? Again, when you make a mistake, do you assume others are thinking about or talking about what you did? Number 5, do you think more negative thoughts about yourself than positive thoughts? Yes or no? Again, do you think more negative thoughts about yourself than positive thoughts? Yes or no? Number 6, does your fear of failure prevent you from doing things you would like to do? Yes or no? Again, does your fear of failure prevent you from doing things you would like to do? Yes or no? Number 7, do you have one or more physical features that you have difficulty accepting? Yes or no? Again, do you have one or more physical features that you have difficulty accepting? Number 8, do you fear making a mistake in front of other people? Yes or no? Do you fear making a mistake in front of other people? Yes or no? Number 9, do you experience anxiety in social situations? Yes or no? Again, do you experience anxiety in social situations? Yes or no? Number 10, do you feel bad about your past mistakes? Yes or no? Do you feel bad about your past mistakes? Yes or no? Number 11, does it bother you considerably when others disapprove of you? Yes or no? Again, does it bother you considerably when others disapprove of you? Yes or no? Number 12, do you do things you don't want to do out of fear of disapproval and rejection? Yes or no? Do you do things you don't want to do out of fear of disapproval and rejection? Yes or no? Number 13, do you minimize the things about yourself that are good? Yes or no? Do you minimize the things about yourself that are good? Number 14, do you believe you deserve whatever treatment people give you because you must have done something to cause it? Yes or no? Again, do you believe you deserve whatever treatment people give you because you must have done something to cause it? Yes or no? Number 15, do you spend a considerable amount of time worrying about how you look? Yes or no? Do you spend a considerable amount of time worrying about how you look? Yes or no? Number 16, do you believe that if people could see the real you, that they wouldn't like you? Yes or no? Do you believe that if people could see the real you, that they wouldn't like you? Yes or no? Number 17, do you judge yourself as inadequate in any area of your life? Yes or no? Do you judge yourself as inadequate in any area of your life? Yes or no? Number 18, do you feel incompetent most of the time? Yes or no? Do you feel incompetent most of the time? Yes or no? Number 19, when others disagree with you or criticize you, do you assume you must be wrong and they are right? Yes or no? When others disagree with you or criticize you, do you assume you must be wrong and they are right? Yes or no? And number 20, do you judge your worth by the people you hang out with? Yes or no? Do you judge your worth by the people you hang out with? Yes or no? So, what I want you to do is add up all of your yeses, tally up your yeses. And again, while you're doing that, I just want to reiterate, if you want to get a copy of this quiz, maybe you missed something or you want to do it, again at another point in time, just email us at info@wisdomonthewall.com, which is on the screen right now, and we will gladly forward the self-esteem quiz over to you. All right. Hopefully you should have counted your yeses by now. So if you have 0 to 3 yeses, you have good self-esteem. So 0 to 3 yeses equates to healthy self-esteem. If you have 4 to 7 yeses, you have mildly low self-esteem. Again, 4 to 7 yeses equals mildly low self-esteem. 8 to 11 yeses equates to moderately low self-esteem. Again, 8 to 11 yeses, moderately low self-esteem. And 12 or more yeses, you have low, very low self-esteem. Again, 12 or more answers, very low self-esteem. And I just want to point out, whatever your number is, you aren't that number. Okay. But we just want to get a feel for where we are and then be able to take the information that we're about to share with you and make it work for you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kadesha to take us through the next part.
Wow. That was, I'll say, eye-opening. And I'm sure, many of the viewers at home are saying the same thing, right? Because we spend the bulk of our lives with people. And so I think we naturally care what people think, right? Or what people say. But yeah, this was good. Thank you, Alisha. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm just going to read what she said again, and hopefully I got it right. 0 to 3 is good self-esteem. 4 to 7 is mildly low self-esteem, if I can read my handwriting. 8 to 11 is moderately low self-esteem, and then 12 plus is very low self-esteem. So what we want to do is just kind of walk you through some stages for what low self-esteem may look like. And then Naomi will tell you what healthy or high self-esteem may look like. And then Alisha will talk to you about how to boost it. And remember, what I love about these sessions is sometimes if it doesn't directly impact you, maybe it's somebody you know, right? Many of us are interacting with people on a regular basis, whether it's at church, in our jobs, even if it's remotely, you're still having interaction with people. So these are ways for you to identify whether it's yourself or someone else may have some low self-esteem. So let's go right into it. So signs of some low self-esteem are if people are sensitive to criticism, right? So if you're not able to give constructive criticism, right? Because they're super duper sensitive. If people are, or yourself, if you're starting to socially withdraw, right? Not wanting to be around people. Now, of course, we're living in a slightly different time. So people are naturally a little bit more in isolation. But if in normalcy, right, if they are tending to withdraw, it could be that they have some low self-esteem. And one of the things that I like to do if I see people kind of going to the back or maybe look a little quiet, just compliment them, right? So just go out of your way to make people feel good about themselves, because you never know how that will prevent them from doing something that they shouldn't be doing, right? Or you don't know if someone was on their way to possibly take their life, and by you complimenting them, you have changed the whole trajectory of their life. So again, we're just looking for ways to identify what low self-esteem may look like, right? Hostility, if people are lashing out or becoming aggressive towards others, or very defensive, that could be that they have low self-esteem. Also, I like this one here, and this is from, I love WebMD. I love going to that website. I don't know why, but for some reason I trust that. Out of most of the websites on when I Google, if I have a doctor question, I love WebMD. So this is where these are coming from. If they are excessively preoccupied with personal problems, okay? And then the last thing that they mentioned is physical symptoms. So low self-esteem can lead to physical problems like mental, physical health issues, things like depression, anxiety, anorexia, things of that nature. And so you want to just pay attention to those things if you see it in other people, if you see it in yourself. One thing that I know I think is safe for me to speak on all of our behalves is that we believe in therapy. We believe in getting help. We believe in you talking to counselors. If that's something that you need to do that, right? Because I do believe that God wants us to have healthy self-esteem, not be cocky, right? But be confident in who you are. So these are some ways in which you can identify if yourself or someone you may know may be struggling with low self-esteem. And I just want to read to you again what 1 Peter 2:9 tells us, that you are chosen, that you are a royal priesthood, that you are a holy nation. That just makes me smile every time I read it, because when I'm not feeling my best self, I'm reminded that, you know what? God thinks highly of me. So if God thinks highly of you, if he thinks highly of us, then we should think highly of ourselves. Yes. So I want to go ahead and swing it to Miss Naomi Burrell on healthy self-esteem, what that looks like.
Absolutely. So thank you for both of you, actually, for the quiz and also for identifying what low self-esteem looks like. So yes, my task is to talk to you about healthy self-esteem. And what I want to first point out is we're using the word healthy versus high, healthy versus high. And there's a reason why we're doing that. So the first thing I want to point out is the first step to healthy self-esteem is acceptance. Without fully going into that aspect, that's a really good starting point, is that acceptance piece. And so then we have to look at what that word healthy means. So the definition of healthy is beneficial to one's physical, mental, or emotional state, conducive to or associated with good health or reduced risk of disease. So that lies tells us that our self-esteem can be directly related to or connected to our health, just like Kadesha said. And so I went and did some research as well and looked at Mayo Clinic, which is another one of those health sites that a lot of people go to look up health tips. And so Mayo Clinic said healthy self-esteem is when you have a balanced, accurate view of yourself. For instance, you have a good opinion of your abilities, but you recognize your flaws. And so that's what we're talking about the acceptance. You understand and you recognize both. So when self-esteem is healthy and grounded in reality, it's hard to have too much of it. So that's why we don't say high, because it gives you that false impression that you have to hit some kind of threshold of self-esteem. What we're really looking for is healthy self-esteem and the benefits that are associated with it. And so some of the benefits of healthy self-esteem is when you value yourself and have good self-esteem, you feel secure and worthwhile. You have generally positive relationships with others and feel confident about your abilities. You're also open to learning and feedback, which can help you acquire and master new skills. I told a friend the other day, I said, in order to have a healthy relationship, you really have to have a healthy perspective of yourself. Because when you do, you won't be judging the other person. You won't be on the other side thinking, oh, what in the world that they're doing, or always assuming that they're doing something negative. So having a healthy self-esteem also fosters healthy relationships. And so with healthy self-esteem, you're assertive in expressing your needs and opinions, confident in your ability to make decisions, able to form and secure honest relationships, and less likely to stay in unhealthy ones, realistic in your expectations and less likely to be overly critical of yourself and others, and more resilient and better able to weather stress and setbacks. And so I also went on to another site called verywellmind.com. I'm not sure, are either one of you familiar with that one? Verywellmind.com. I really like that one as well. So what they said was that there are some simple ways to tell if you have healthy self-esteem. You probably have healthy self-esteem if you avoid dwelling on past negative experiences. If you believe you are equal to everyone else, no better, no worse, but just equal. If you express your needs, if you are able to tell people the things that you need. If you feel confident, that's another part of it. if you have a positive outlook on life. So generally, you have a positive outlook and things seem like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Also, you can say no when you want to. That's another one. When I saw that, I said, Lord, help me. I had to put a star, a check, everything next to that one. But you can say no when you want to, not just when you need to, but when you want to, which means at will. You're able to say no when those circumstances rise that you don't feel comfortable with. And then you see your overall strengths and weaknesses and you accept them. So having healthy self-esteem can help motivate you to reach your goals because you are able to navigate life knowing that you are capable of accomplishing what you set your mind to. And when you have healthy self-esteem, you are able to set appropriate boundaries in relationships and maintain a healthy relationship with yourself and others. Now, I like that part because you're in a relationship with yourself. Okay, so you definitely want that to be healthy. And before you can even enter into a healthy relationship with others, you need to have a healthy relationship with yourself. And so those are some signs of healthy self-esteem.
Mm, mm, mm.
That was good.
That was excellent.
Y'all already know I was preaching to myself too. I was stepping on my own toes when I was doing the research. I was like, ouch, ouch. Okay.
I love it. I love it. Wow. Well, I'll go ahead and jump into ways to boost our self-esteem. And I think it's important to note that when we talk about low or unhealthy self-esteem, I like that whole point of saying healthy versus high. And I'm going to put it with low versus unhealthy. So when we talk about unhealthy self-esteem, it unfortunately becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because what happens is the worse we feel about who we are and what we do, the less motivation we actually have to do what it takes to build our self-esteem, which is why I'm excited about sharing, these ways to, as you call them, Kadesha, the boosters. I'm eager to share them because they actually do work, and it kind of encapsulated some of the stuff that both of you actually shared. But you know me, I'm going to use my acronym tonight, and I'm going to use ESTEEM to talk about how to boost our self-esteem. So when we talk about the E in ESTEEM, it is to evaluate our strengths and our accomplishments. So one of the ways to boost our self-esteem is to evaluate our strengths and our accomplishments. And the whole point being is just answering the question, what am I good at? What am I good at? But not only what am I good at, what do I love to do? Realizing that we all are good at something. When somebody gets into that point where they say, oh, I'm not good at anything. Yes, you are. We all have something that we're good at, and we all have something that we enjoy doing. And, a part of that list, another list will be listing your accomplishments, the things that, you're proud of in your life thus far. And the goal is to have both of these things written down, the list of things that you're good at, that you enjoy doing, but also your accomplishments. Because when we do that, when we get in that point when our self-esteem is not as healthy as we would like it to be, we have these lists available to us to be able to look at and read over and really get that reminder of our ability to do things well, and also to get them done in a nice way. So again, evaluate your strengths and your accomplishments. The S in ESTEEM is to stop worrying about what other people think. And that was one of the cues that Kadesha mentioned, worrying about what other people think. But when we're talking about boosting our self-esteem, we have to stop worrying about what other people think. When we kind of fall into that whole mentality of worrying about what other people do or what they feel about us, what ends up happening is we don't feel free to completely be ourselves. Again, we don't feel free to completely be ourselves. And I look at it kind of like an imposter syndrome. We're living as imposters. And so we have to get to the point where we actually make a firm decision to really stop worrying about what other people think about us and begin making, and Naomi kind of hit on this, begin making choices based on what we want. So it's not a matter of it's because somebody else wants me to do this or this is what they're going to think about me. I'm doing this because I like doing it and it makes me happy. The T in ESTEEM is to take the good from your mistakes and your failures. Take the good from your mistakes and your failures. One of the common responses when it comes to us making the mistakes, and I'm as Naomi said, I'm stepping on my own toes with this. When you had that spirit of perfectionism, I'll call it. But again, we're hard on ourselves when we've actually failed at something. But the thing is, we have to really kind of do a perspective shift, for lack of a better word, and accept the fact that failure really is an opportunity for us to learn from that thing. So it really isn't a failure. We just learned a way not to do whatever that thing was. And we should never deny the fact that we make mistakes, because we're human. None of us do things perfectly. And instead, just really understanding that we can learn from the mistakes that have taken place. And if we learn from them, we can improve upon ourselves. And keep in mind that, when we fail, again, just using the word fail, when we're experiencing failure, we're actually making an effort to do something. We're progressing. If you're not failing, there's a book that's called Fail Forward. So meaning if you're not achieving, or you didn't achieve that thing, you're further along than where you were before you actually made that mistake, so to speak. And the bottom line is, when we think that way, we'll boost our self-esteem. The E in the esteem is eliminate negative people from our lives. Eliminate negative people from our lives. So, there are sometimes people in our lives who never have anything positive to say. They don't do anything positive to kind of build you up. And the reverse of it is that they put you down and try to take advantage of you. The smart thing we should do in that, and the only thing we should do with that, is let them go. And I'm going to say that again. Just let them go. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We want to get to the point where we surround ourselves with people who are supportive, who are positive, who value us, and who lift us up. And that's going to be a key to boosting our esteem. The other E is embrace self-compassion. Embrace self-compassion. And this is extremely vital when we don't have healthy self-esteem, because instead of compassion, which you typically see when people who have low or unhealthy self-esteem, is they engage more in self-criticism. So end up criticizing everything you do or don't do. But the point is, we have to give ourselves a break, realizing life isn't easy. As I was saying before, no one is perfect, and neither one of us is perfect, bottom line, if you just put it that way. And it's really typically us who is putting so much pressure on ourselves that we end up saying we can't do this, or I haven't done that right. But we have to learn to cut ourselves a break, because guess what? And Kadesha kind of hit on this. God cuts us a break. He is the most compassionate person. So if we're supposed to be imitating him and he's compassionate towards us, we need to be compassionate towards ourselves. And lastly, the M in esteem is to master a new skill. Master a new skill. Because, when we're skilled in something and it relates to our gifts and our talents and the things we're interested in, what happens is we end up increasing our competency, which goes directly along with increasing our self-esteem. So I just close out the whole boosters, as we call them, just reminding ourselves that we have to keep in mind that boosting and building our self-esteem is a process. It won't happen overnight. Well, no, I won't say it won't happen, because God is miraculous. He can, change that thing miraculously. But outside in the natural, it's going to take some time. And again, we have to be compassionate towards ourselves. And if you utilize some of the things that Kadesha, Naomi has shared, to some of these boosters, you're going to be well on your way to that healthy self-esteem. All righty. Poobie.
That was so good. Tasteful. Who we have? Hey, Dave. What's Dave saying?
So David said, "You're making me feel very good about myself right now." And I appreciate it. I feel good about all these things you're mentioning. And he also asked a question, which I thought was cool. He said, what if we have too much self-esteem and it leads you to sometimes wing it when you shouldn't? I think I am going to hop in and say, I would also beg the question or counter ask a question and say, is that really self-esteem, or is it something else? It could be arrogance, which is a byproduct of low self-esteem. And so with that, I'd say that would definitely cause you to wing it, because you're overly I guess not confident, but overly, like you think you can do more than what you are not capable of, but prepared to do in the moment. So sometimes arrogance will cause you to do that, which in a lot of cases is a byproduct of low self-esteem. So that's my answer. I don't know about you ladies. I'm sure y'all have some input.
Well, you were kind of going along, because when I saw that question, I was thinking the same thing. Like, could it be an ego thing, or could it be a pride thing? So I was kind of thinking of that. It may not necessarily just be dealing with self-esteem. It could be those other things as well. And it may even depend on, like you said, the situation that it shows up, and the intensity of it, for lack of a better word. So that's what I was kind of going along the same line. Was it ego, pride?
Yeah, because I mean, with you saying that, a person with healthy self-esteem is going to say, they're going to be able to accept, I'm not ready to do this right now. They're going to take the time to prepare, not because they are so concerned with how everybody is, but they're taking into consideration that if I don't prepare, that may be a reflection on me. And I understand that preparation will put me in the best possible light. So you're going to take that time to do those things, to prepare. Sometimes, a person can think, oh, I'm just so gifted, and you underestimate those areas where you're not so strong, and you get up there, it's a lot. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. And that's just my take on it.
No, I think that's a great perspective. And I think what you're saying about preparation is, a while ago we were talking about guardrails and putting things in place to keep us on the right path. But I feel like preparation is one of those things that will aid you in being confident, aid you in having a healthy self-esteem. So why not prepare, right? So we can be on the good side of confidence. So I think you hit it right on, Naomi. That was a good take on it.
And the way you said it, though, Kadesha, it aids you. So preparation aids you in having. I like the way that's worded, because all these things do, the boosters that we were talking about, it aids you. It really does help you to have that healthy self-esteem.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to it goes back to how you started your piece off, Naomi, with healthy versus high. Because like you said, sometimes when we think of the word high, we think of like, oh, that's great because I have high self-esteem, but is it healthy? Is there a healthy balance, in terms of the confidence, but also what you just brought up, that whole piece on preparing. Yes, I'm confident, but there's also another piece of it that I have to do, which is that preparation. So,
and just kind of
David. I'm sorry.
No. He said, "Let me get my ego in check." Thank you.
Oh yeah, let me put that up on the screen.
Love it.
But just circling back to what we discussed earlier, and actually what I think David and maybe someone else was chiming in the chat, is about the therapist. And I think where therapy comes in is it helps you to find that balance with having that healthy self-esteem, right? Because I think sometimes we can be overly critical of ourselves, and that's not healthy, right? But I think on the contrary is what David here is talking about. We can also be very arrogant. So I think the therapist will help you find that balance. Right. And so, just being fully transparent, that is one of the areas in which I feel like that's my next guardrail, right? Is just to have a therapist as one of my toolkits, is like in my bag, so I can work through some things, right? And it's because it's necessary. And I think we've just had this stigma, particularly in our community, that you don't need a therapist. All you need is a pastor or whomever. But I'm excited about this next journey whenever it begins. But I think the therapy, helps you find that balance and everything.
I think an important piece.
Go ahead. I'm
just going to say really quickly about the therapist. I think it's important to highlight that it should be a Christian therapist. I think so that they can speak to it based on the Bible, and it's not conflicting, because sometimes you can go into those kind of situations with people who are therapists and it becomes some other thing,
right,
woo-woo and all that other. I think it's really important that it should be someone grounded in Christ, a Christian therapist.
Jesus is all I know. So they're gonna have to definitely rock with Jesus.
I know that's right.
They're gonna rock with me. And that's just me, right? That's my preference, and that's where I am on my journey. Now someone else may not feel that way, but for me and what I think is gonna aid me is gonna be someone like Alisha said, someone who is faith-based, but also are very skilled and trained in the therapeutic world as well. Hey, cuz. That's my cousin.
Yes, I had to put her up because I always love putting up our YouTubers because I love that they're tuning in, and I want to make sure they get love because we always give our Facebookers some love, but we gotta shout out our YouTubers. So thank you for tuning in. And oh wow, look, she also gave an additional comment so that I'm gonna put up. So I want to make sure I pronounce it right because I've heard Tamara. So which one is it?
Which one is it?
And it's funny because we don't even call her that. So she has a whole nother name that she goes by. So I ain't gonna say what I call her, but I think it's Tamara.
Okay.
But don't, because she go by something different.
Yes, Tamara. Okay. So yes, therapy does help. And I want to add too that David said that it saved his life too. So I'm just going to put that there.
Amen.
But Tamara is saying, yes, therapy does help. I will be pursuing a master's in school counseling this fall from a Christian university. And she said, yes, the therapist should be grounded in Christ. You better go ahead. Yes. I know that's right. Woo-hoo! I think David said, yeah, they better be rocking with Jesus. Y'all be cracking me up with these comments. I love y'all. Darlisa said, Darlisa, I got it right. Darlisa, right?
Mm-hmm.
She said, I was taught not to talk about your issue to strangers, like the family business, keep a secret. But I like the fact that there's therapy. Help.
That is so true. I mean, it's true. Just like in the you were saying, Kadesha, in the Black family, like you're taught what stays in this house, what happens in this house stays in this house. And for some people, if that's an outlet that they need, that therapy, that could be detrimental. Like they're dying inside because they don't feel free to discuss it with somebody who could potentially help them. So she hit right on what a lot of people grow up with that, what they say, big mama or whoever tells you don't share what's going on in the house.
Right.
So that's real.
And that's what Dr. Anita Phillips was talking about. Like she feels like in her line of work, she has to help people relearn, right? Because we've been taught all these things for however old you are. That's how long you've been taught these things in family and in some cases in church, unfortunately. But it's like we have to relearn these things. And so I think therapy is super duper helpful. And I think just speaking in general, speaking it out, whether you're journaling it out in in a notebook, but get that stuff out. But therapy, I would presume, helps you walk through it logically, right? So you're not feeling super duper bad about yourself.
And shout out to Tamara. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying really quickly, you hit on something with just speaking it out, because sometimes your therapy session could be with your prayer partner, where you just kind of sharing what it is that was going on, and sometimes it's just a matter of getting it out that will make a difference as well. So
so okay, so we're gonna go there for 1 second. So I think there's a difference, right? So sometimes you can get it out with your girlfriend, your best friend, your mother, whoever is close to you, right? That person that you can talk to. But one of the things I hearing in my head, if you've been through any level of trauma, I think it is worth talking to a specialist. And no, nothing that you said, Alisha, but it made the word trauma came up. And I think a lot of us have, dealt with traumatic experiences. Even if we don't label it trauma, more than likely it is in some form or fashion. And so that's where the licensed therapist and all that stuff comes in. But anyway, we done went off on a tangent, honey.
No. I got to say this because let me tell you. Listen, this Darlisa. First of all, let me just say how you was all up in our conversation on Tuesday. Okay. She said, I feel a need for a conference for that. Mental health issue. Did I miss it? No, you didn't. And we are in the planning process. Okay. Thank you for that confirmation. Darlisa, thank you.
Before we wrap it up and head into the wisdom corner, I did want to share this one. There was a song that I heard on a Beats commercial. Come on, Beats! I'm gonna have to give me some Beats. But there's a new Beats commercial with the new track star Shakira Richardson. I'm probably butchering her name. From Texas. Yes, Shakari Richardson. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and it features Kanye West's new song, and they only play like a little bit, but I was like, yes, I thought about you, Alisha, but you like jamming. But anyway, the song is called No Child Left Behind. Mm-hmm. But the lyric that they were saying was like, he did a miracle in me. And it's like, that's the kind of what we have to remind ourselves, like, you know what, I'm not perfect, but God did and is doing a miracle in me, honey. Yes. The beat rocks. So y'all need to find that commercial. I think the album just dropped from Kanye West, but
I think he's doing the concert either tonight or tomorrow in Atlanta.
Yes,
for that album. So yeah, cool beats. So,
yeah, I wanted to share that real quick. And maybe I need to get me some beats. It's time for me to get some beats.
Upgrade.
Well,
I don't think it's Wisdom Corner. I think it's you kind of carrying us out tonight, looking at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Lord Jesus, how we gonna end it, Jesus? But no, one of the things I did want to just kind of, and I forgot to mention it in my part and forgot to mention it in the confidence part, but I think the key is one of the major blockers in us having, or that contributes to low self-esteem, is that thing called comparison. And you know how we just compare ourselves to Joe Blow, honey, the Joneses, the Martins, the Browns, whoever, just comparing ourselves. And I believe that is one of the biggest killers of your confidence and, really killer of your self-esteem. So going back to our theme, which is, what was it, Alisha? Compliment National, what is it?
Of healthy self-esteem?
No, the mirror part.
Oh, yes. Compliment your mirror.
Yeah.
National Compliment Your Mirror Day.
Yes. Going back to that, start every day, honey, in the mirror, complimenting yourself. I'm a big advocate of, I haven't done it lately, but I used to have little Post-it notes on my mirror with affirmations, with scriptures. One thing we believe in Keller Williams is just saying bold affirmations and saying bold laws to get our day started. Mm-hmm. And so those are the types of things that help aid your mind, right? Mm-hmm. What's that one? Command your morning, just command your day and you get to tell it what it's going to do. So that's what you can do every morning. And so I'm very grateful for this conversation. I'm grateful for those who chimed in, who was chatting, who's still chatting away. I'm grateful for the tools and for the nuggets that I've received from you. And that's really why we're here. We're here to give you wisdom, but as we're giving it to you, we're gaining it and gleaning it for ourselves. So we appreciate you. We're so grateful for you stopping by. Remember that we're here every Thursday, not every other, not at once a month. We're here every Thursday at 8:00. This episode and every episode is sponsored by Wisdom on the Wall, Inc. and Be Inspired Global. Do not forget to tell somebody about it. If you enjoyed the conversation, come back and bring a friend. Remember, we have our pop-up prayer call, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, our Wednesday morning empowerment prayer calls that some of you guys are already on and enjoying. But tell somebody, share this. And then remember to join back up here next Thursday at 8 p.m. We're actually going to continue in this conversation next week as well. So we love you guys. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Look, stay in Jesus. Stay in faith. Love y'all.
Bye.